Hello everyone, you've tuned into Business Today and I'm Aakanksha. Today we have with us very special guests, the team of Techni Disruptors. We have with us Myna Mukherjee, who is the curator of the exhibition, and two artists, Adil and Harshit. So welcome, thank you so much. You've joined us, you've taken our time. Thank you so much. So let's just dive into the questions. Myna, please tell us about your exhibition.
So, Techni Disruptors is one of the first art and tech shows in India since I've heard the 1970s. And the last one in 1970s were a number of artists who were actually not South Asian or Indian by any means. So this has been an exciting journey so far in bringing together some of the most exciting conversations that are currently happening in the country around the field of AI art, around virtual reality, augmented realities, works that can be viewed through holograms, works that have been created with the aid of technology. It's a new world. It's also the first time, along with this show, that we are minting a collection of Global South NFTs. The idea is to sort of lead the way to technology, because the East has always been known very much for antiquities. It's been known for heritage and tradition. And there is a chance right now that the East can lead in terms of technology and art. We have some of the best artists who have germinated from South Asia and Asia. And the idea is to start a conversation showing the diversity of works that abound in this space. Along with this exhibition, this was also an occasion to drop a very layered and fantastic prototype for the kind of imaginations that can be fueled using NFTs and the structure that they can have. So we also featured a drop of Raghava KK's NFT for a region DAO, which is basically a global nexus of people who, across the globe, who are trying to work towards regenerating the planet.
That sounds really exciting, Myna. It's really exciting. And I was at the show, and I must say the works which have been exhibited are really, really wonderful. So let's
Thank
talk about that. Let's come to the artists. Adil, could you please tell us something about your work? I think which has been featured at the show. Could you tell us something? How did you get into NFT art?
Okay, I'm more of a traditional artist, and this is the first experience for me to go into digitalizing my artwork, and it's been, I think very eye opening in the sense I do support the idea of the democratization of the art space. It is very elitist in nature at the moment. And this digitalization creates new accessibilities, appealing to a new set of demographic and psychographic profiles. And it takes art to the masses. So, and the accessibility to art also increases, which should be one of the purposes of uh, art, basically, a wider audience. And this has been, really nice for me in the sense this work of mine is pretty relevant today because it's basic. This work talks about the human suffering in conflict zones, basically, and Ukraine is just a metaphor here, and conflict zones are many. So it the work features mnemonics of war. It features a partridge, T3 in our own language. And it features, if you see the digitized version of that work, the white dots in the feathers, they start floating up and they turn into eyeballs, which represent basically the multitude of helpless people who are caught in this conflict zone. And very unfortunate. So we talk about suffering. It does not matter what color you are, which country you are from. Being uprooted, you don't know where your next meal is going to come from. It talks about all that human suffering. And it's like people can relate to this art probably because this is like a collective emotion of what is going on in the world. I mean, I could just be another voice or a kind of a mental bridge in this. This work could represent that. And it's just a small cry, but it has meaning, and it is very relevant today.
So yes, I was at the exhibition, and your work seems really relevant in light of the recent conflict which is going on in Russia and Ukraine. So let's come to Harshit now. Harshit, I believe your work has, it's an immersive experience in a poppy field, which is actually, and where the leaves and the stems and the flowers are all made of advertisements. So could you tell our audience what was your, what was the idea behind comparing social media ads to poppy seeds, which is actually a very addictive product?
The work basically speaks to a few different themes. The work is called Landing Page, and the title itself is sort of a reference to how, when the internet started, every website would have a landing page through which you would access the internet. And today, in some ways, we are moving into a 3D internet, so to say, the metaverse. And here I create this poppy land essentially as sort of pointing to the entrance towards this more immersive, digitized version of reality. And particularly, like you mentioned, the poppy field plants are essentially, once you put on this virtual reality headset and you're in that space, you realize that they're all made up of advertisement videos that are playing. So that is what the building material of this entire universe is, that entire poppy field plants is. And these are the ads on which most money has been spent over the last 2 years on Facebook. And a lot of them are political ads, a lot of them are private companies and all of that. And what is interesting to also, like, just to put in some numbers, an average Indian consumer sees about 2.2 million ads in a year, which is a massive number, right? And that is to say that with this work, to say that sort of our natural habitat is being replaced by digital media today. That is all we are consuming almost all the time. And the reference to poppy fields is obviously one of addiction, but also one of colonialism, where it was through this sort of plantations that the Britishers used this to sort of fill in their treasury to actually promote and exploit sort of the colonialism rule, right? And today we see a similar thing happening with companies, massive tech companies, using advertisements and digital content to sort of use that as a way to start controlling or influencing people's lives and decisions by sort of literally bombarding them or surrounding their entirety with these ads. So that is what the work is about.
Wonderful. It really sounds interesting. So, Myna, like Adil spoke about, democratization of art, because of NFTs and all these digital collectibles. So, could you tell us how NFT art is transforming the whole art atmosphere? Has it really helped in democratization, or has it, actually built up a niche where only people who are technically versed can tap into the field? So, what are your views on this as a curator?
See, I think that technology is has really enabled and pushed our world towards a digital disruption, irrespective of NFTs or not. I mean, a few years back, it is very true that digital literacy is a big part of whether an artist is able to NFT his work. But if you look at the state of the internet from a few years back, the same kind of concerns were expressed at that point about, does the common person have access to internet? But today that is not a question any longer. Everyone who has a mobile phone, and before that the question was, do people have access to mobile phones, and is there a difference between the haves and the have-nots? So of course digital literacy is a concern right now for uh, for artists, but artists also do not have access to galleries all the time. So it sort of evens the play. And the digital space is a place that an artist can have far more access to than a gallery system, which can sometimes be very deterring for an artist from South Asia. So also, the NFT space is a very exciting space, not just for audiences, but also for creators themselves. Creators, for the first time, can support each other. We've heard of a huge, Japanese artists or Korean artists, Korean pop artists who support each other. And that has really changed the way the world sees the marketplace as well. So I'm very techno positive, and I feel that the future of art definitely includes NFTs. I'm not saying that the traditional art is going to be replaced by NFTs. That will never happen. But technology is a tool, it's an enabler. It allows for more expressions, it allows for more ideas to be shared across platforms, and the NFT market is definitely here to stay. Now, the question is, do we sit back and have FOMO while the rest of the world seems to want to get on the bandwagon? Or are we actual active participants in shaping the way that this marketplace, heads towards in the future?
Very well put, Maina, that we shouldn't just, sit on the sidelines and see where the world goes with this. We should actually
Right.
actively participate. So, Adil, I have a question for you. Since you were also a traditional artist before this, and now you've also started dabbling into NFTs. So, what has been your experience of the shift? Could you tell us? Could you tell our audience? Or maybe, who are budding traditional artists in our audience who actually want to take a shift towards this very technically forward NFT driven art space. So, what would be your advice for them?
Akansha, I openly say that I'm technology challenged, and I've really not faced a problem while taking this huge leap. And my gallerist, Myna, has been a pillar of strength here, but it has really opened up a new vista, in the sense that for once I can see what I've got within me. I mean, I've expressed it on canvas, but now I see an animated version of my work in a concept note, where things are moving to, and they start from a point and they go to a culmination. So I mean, it's more expressive, and side by side with the physical work, if you have the digitalized or animated work, it's they just go so well together.
That is true. That is true, Adil. Maybe the younger generation should, delve more towards the NFT markets, or that would excite them a lot more. That's very well. That's
True,
very,
true.
that's right. So, Harshit, I have a question for you. Apart from your artwork, what is the other artworks that have been, that are exhibited at the Techne Disruptors, which you personally like, or you would like to say something about them? It could be about your fellow artists, it could be Adil's work or Raghav's work.
I personally love all the works completely. I think the entire show
Very
speaks
diplomatic, yes,
collectively
very
so well
diplomatic.
about how global South artists, we are engaging with themes that are relevant to our context, with technology, sort of shaping in some ways the future of how we see technology evolving, right? Because most of the time it's sort of the global north that has sort of more of an influence in shaping the future of this space. And that way, I think it's very exciting for the show to bring together all of us artists to engage with several themes. And I mean, including like Minnie's work, I think that's really wonderful in terms of speaking about how there are sort of things that were taken away from the natural source, and then for Minnie to reimagine using technology in such a powerful way of what they would have been had it not gone through sort of that destructive process through colonialism and taking away from its originality. So I think in general, I mean, I'm super excited to have a few of my works as part of the show, because I think collectively it's a very good conversation to start about how we can come together as a population, not just as artists or galleries, but as an entire population. We've already mentioned this, but like all of us are actually immersed in technology almost throughout our day to day. We don't realize that because oftentimes it's sort of subliminal. Oftentimes we don't realize so much content that we're seeing is curated for us. We don't consume information from our own will. So all of this, I think, needs for people to actually come together to engage with these conversations. And therefore, I think all the works in the show sort of highlight different themes of this kind of aspect. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Harshit. Thank you so much, Adil, Myna. Thank you for joining us. And I hope our audience, visits your show. Everyone living in Delhi, you should go watch their show, watch the exhibition. It's at the India Habitat Center. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, Aakanksha. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Aakanksha. It
Bye.
was wonderful speaking.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.